In the 1920s, the Van Sweringen brothers of Cleveland had a dream, the biggest construction project aside from the Panama Canal. The Vans built the terminal tower, a train station, a hotel, a department store, 3 other office buildings. Today, the completion of the brothers' dream is in place, but getting it done was a nightmare of a job.
It's certainly a nightmare for anyone who is trying to design this and try to make everything work and keep the thing operational.
Keep the rapid system and office buildings operational during nearly 3 years of construction, and at the same time, relocate or rebuild 90% of telephone wires, gas lines, electric lines, water and sewage systems. It was difficult and sometimes dangerous work, especially when you're 70, 80 feet up and kneeling on a slab of glass is the only thing between you and the floor below.
One good thing about the laminated glass, though, is when the top piece breaks, you have about 5 seconds, maybe 4 seconds to get off of it.
Frenchie the welder knows what falling is all about. He once fell nearly 500 feet and lived to tell about it. Frenchie and his buddy, Sweet William, labored on this monster, a 30-ton beam, the main piece of steel in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel.
The two of us have roughly 40 hours on what's been done so far, and we've got about twice that to go when we put the butter plates on the side. So that's 80 man-hours on what's been accomplished so far.
Heavier and costlier steel beams had to be used because new construction was being added to what the Van Sweringens had originally put into place.
We're coming off a design that was put together 60 years ago for buildings that they built then. We could have built it much more efficiently if we didn't have to come off of the structure that's there.
What was finally put into place was done so painstakingly, so carefully, over and over and over again.
20 or 30 times that we've redesigned, redesigned for one reason or another. It's been very, very difficult.
Here's just how difficult. In an old warehouse in the flats, full-size storefronts were constructed so retail clients could see how it would all look beforehand, what the terrazzo floor would look like. The lighting, it had to be redone 8 times to get it exactly right. Each piece of bronze, brass, every chandelier taken from the old train station had to be labeled, cataloged, because this is an historic project. And for months on end, 28 brass storefronts were patiently restored, each with a myriad of pieces.
There are approximately 400 individual pieces to each of the storefronts. And we wanted to make sure that we had documentation that's going to show where these pieces went. It's not an easy task to visualize how it's going to be back together.
It was up to Fred Greetham to know the weight put on each floor, or everything could come crashing below.
We've been very careful to have engineers, structural engineers, calculate loadings that we could put on all the suspended floors, the concrete and steel floors. Just with that in mind, so we don't have cranes disappearing through one floor to the next floor below.
30% of existing steel in the Tower City project was kept. The other 70% removed, like down below where 11 theater screens were constructed.
And all of the beams that you see there, and where the concrete has been removed, that structural steel is going to be taken out and lowered. The reason we've got to lower it is because we need the height for the screens, we need the height for the projection equipment.